Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If there will be an attack on the US dollar's dominance, global dominance, it could come only from the BRICS countries. And if they stay together and they enlarge their organization, then they would pose in time a threat to the dollar's dominance. I don't know how the United States will allow that or not, but if these guys in the BRICS create also military alliances, then definitely the US dollar is going to be cornered and will lose some of its hegemony. And probably the yuan, or as BRICS, the countries discuss, they are agreeing to create a new currency. So we'll see what that currency is. I have an article here from Russia Today, and let's read the article. So, Russia Today. BRICS discussing launch of dollar rival. Top Russian MP. The five emerging nations already outpace the G7 in economic growth. Alexander Babakov claims. Russia, together with fellow BRICS members and other African countries, is discussing the creation of a new global currency that could challenge the US dollar's dominance and become analogous to the euro for non-Western states. State Duma Deputy Speaker Alexander Babakov has said. In an interview with Russian media on Wednesday, Babakov stated that having passed the test of Western sanctions, Moscow is ready to take on a new role in the world order and, together with partners, undermine the hegemony of the US. Claiming the Russia-Africa summit held in St. Petersburg last week is direct evidence of the failure of the collective West to isolate Russia, he outlined new trends in the international relations system. Babakov stressed that achieving real sovereignty for Russia would necessitate shifting away from the dominance of the US currency. Moscow and its partners would need to agree on a new monetary unit and on the rules for its functioning, he explained. When asked about the new currency, the Russian MP reported, "This is not the yuan and not the ruble. There are already certain formulations. Their name is not important, of course, but it should be an analog of the dollar. So I would call it non-dollar or ex-dollar. X like bye-bye, former. After all, I'm quoting again, the BRICS in terms of its potential today is greater than the G7. That is, the potential of the market where this currency can function is very wide. There are no reasons to be tied to the dollar," end quote, Babakov argued. The key word is potential. It's like, I have this potential, but will I reach it? It depends how much effort I put in it. So the BRICS nations have been seeking to shift further away from the US dollar in mutual trade. The de-dollarization trend has been gaining momentum in the wake of sanctions that effectively cut Russia off from the Western-dominated financial systems. Numerous developing nations, including fellow BRICS members, China, Brazil, India, South Africa, have also started to move towards alternative currencies in trade. Moscow floated the idea of introducing a BRICS currency last year. President Vladimir Putin said last June that member states were working on developing a new reserve currency based on a basket of the national currencies used by the five-nation bloc. They will have this little meeting on the 10th, I think, 10th and 12th of this month in Johannesburg, South Africa. And they will be discussing the enlarging the BRICS organization. And there are about 20 more candidates ready to come in. Obviously, they have to fulfill a certain kind of list, and some of them do. Interestingly enough, Saudi Arabia wants to get in. Now, that's not you can't ignore that one. Argentina wants to come in. I know that Brazil and Argentina talked about the El Sur or something like this, and I think Venezuela is on board with that, and another country in South America saying that they want to create a currency, of South American currency that probably will be attached to the BRICS eventually. Well, the Americans say, well, it's an impossibility, well, you're just kids playing in the sand, blah, 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 blah. But then they will wake up too late when the house is already on fire and you can't extinguish the fire. And probably that's what they want. I'm surprised that they did not put military pressure yet on certain countries. I'm surprised, but it doesn't mean that they will not do it. They will do everything to, to stop this de-dollarization. Because without that, we have to start producing shit. We can't just massage one another, if you know what I mean, produce services to one another, and we have to start producing things, because we can't just give paper and receive the product, because we're going to print the paper, you give us the product. And that's the way it's been with the petrodollar, through the petrodollar as well. You need the dollar in order to use to use and buy oil, deal with oil, and then what are you going to do with that? How do you get that? By doing business with me. How do you do business with me? You sell me shit, and I pay paper money to you, and you can buy oil. Very, very weasel-like. That's why the gold standard was gone. If it was about the gold standard, we would realize that we are not that rich anymore, or all of a sudden. And the same thing will happen if these guys implement and succeed in creating an alternative global currency, reserve currency. We will start producing, which is a good thing, if they decide to do that, because that means we're going to have manufacturing jobs, and that would be good. But there's going to be a period of time when our wealth will just decrease all of a sudden. We'll see, and then you have to rearrange, you adapt. But it's gonna take time. That's why when you take capital out and you take technology out, and you, as I said, the post-industrial economy that we are told that we have a service-based economy. I told you what kind of service. You can't survive like this unless you have everybody else working for you. But if everybody else say, oh, no, we don't want to work for you, we want to work with the other ones, then you have to do what? Grab them by the collar, say, no, you come back on my plantation, you. But if the other guys have a strength too, to grab them from your little fingers, your claws, what are you going to do? Try to destroy Russia, try to destroy China, and use them as examples. That's what's going on. And after you use them as example, you say, see that? What happened over there? I will break you. I must break you. That's what's going to happen. Well, we'll see. Competition is always good. We're told here in the democracy, capitalist society that we have. No? Yes. But somehow we have only two political parties that are working. The rest are just by name only. But it's like you go to a store and you have only two forms of ice cream flavors. You want to have that or 50,000? Which one we want? I want the 50,000. Well, it's okay. In politics, you only need two. They tell us. But in everything else, you like diversity, inclusion, equity, but not in politics. Over there, it's only one party with two little branches. One is like two, as I always say, identical twins with the same parents. The parents are the ones that give donations, campaign donations. The parents feed them. And you have one identical twin with a mustache, and the other one doesn't have a mustache. That's the only difference between the parties here. They just play ball, and they have the mass media over there that covers for them, and the big interest, the owners of this country do what the fuck ever they want. But hey, we live in the freest country. We eat, we don't even know what it is. Looks like food, smells like food, tastes like food, but that's not food. Modified with all kind of garbage, injected with everything else. But hey, we're free, man, and wealthy. Woo-hoo. And we have freedom of speech. We're the greatest nation. Well, not anymore, I think. We're going down. We're going down. Like, what's his name? I always forget that guy's name. Going Down, the song, something King. Freddie King. Yeah, Freddie King. Going down. So, thank you. And we're going. Slowly, but we are. And culturally, again, they keep us fighting here, and they can loot over there. The matrix is right here. And the mass media, the entertainment, the schools, the government gives us this little bullshit, and we fight with one another because, I don't know, I have a longer nose than you, or you got smaller balls than Gigi, or something like this. And they keep us frictioning Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.